Hey everyone, for our one new thing for our quarterly newsletter, I decided to go the website evaluator route. So many different things we could talk about, certainly, but this one of the things, I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that I'm always struggling with is to get all of my students to really think critically about the websites that they're using. I think a lot of teachers consider this just to be a problem or a topic of conversation for digital literacy or multimedia or something like that. It's everybody's issue. Our students are getting information from so many different sources. Some of it's legitimate, some of it's not. And so we have to really talk to them about it. Now, back in the day when I was in the classroom, it was just everyone was blasting Wikipedia and how terrible and horrible it was. And, you could argue that there are some articles or there's, a point for debate. But at that point, students just were not even allowed to use it as a source, which was unfortunate because, as one of my own wonderful mentors told me, Wikipedia is a fantastic place to start. You just want to make sure you don't end there. And so that, I think, is, in light of that, I think this Research Ready website is a really, really great place to start, so that it's not telling you that a website is legitimate or not. It walks students through the process so that they can figure out, is this a legitimate source of information or not? So what you do is you go to the website, and I'll go ahead and include the web address in the newsletter. But I'm going to start off, I think, with a Wikipedia article. I mean, this was another article that I was looking at before. And I think I would rather go to Wikipedia just because it's a place that a lot of students would end up in. So we'll just go with Battle of the Bulge. So it'll make it easier. So what I do is, if I'm a student who is researching Battle of the Bulge, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this website. And I'm going to go over to Research Ready, and I'm going to copy it in and click Go. And what it does, there we go. Okay, so don't make that mistake. Put in an extra HTTP there. What it will do is it will go ahead and take you directly to that site, but then it puts this website evaluator tool over on the right. Now, what I like about this website is that it gets people to think very critically about the information that they're looking at. The downside is it's not nearly as robust as I would like it to be. But then on the plus side, again, it's nice and quick and simple, and it's a great way to launch a conversation about what is or is not a legitimate source of information. So what it does is it does not make that decision for you, unfortunately. It'd be great if it says, yes, this is good, or no, it's not. We're not quite there yet. I have to do the dirty work myself, so does your students. So if I were to go to Battle of the Bulge, it goes through all of these different topics that help us determine if a website is a legitimate source or not. So the first part asks you about purpose, and says, well, first of all, what is the purpose of the article? If it's just to entertain, then, it may or may not be useful for you. If it's designed to sell, and one of the things that I like about this feature, if you roll over the help button, it will explain to you what that means. So you may have students, depending on their level or their background in this, they may not really understand the difference between those things, and so this provides a common definition. So it has entertain, sell, persuade, inform, or teach. And most of them are going to run into persuade or inform or teach. So if they were to select this, if I'm looking at this, I'm going to say, yeah, it's probably to inform. Doesn't really appear to be trying to persuade, although, again, with Wikipedia articles, that's not always guaranteed, depending on who wrote it and who added pieces to it. The next section is on accuracy, and it does provide some criteria here. Does it provide a citation? Does it have evidence that backs up the claim? Are there spelling and grammatical errors? As the information match other credible sources? And the good thing about Wikipedia is that it does provide a nice long list of resources, and it links within the text itself so that you can get more information. Such a big fan of those nonlinear learning strategies, so that's really helpful. But as I scroll down the bottom here, now I can at least see the notes and the references, and I would say based on these criteria that, yeah, this is pretty accurate. Now again, that doesn't mean that it is. Just because I think that at this point doesn't mean it's so. Okay, so my next area is the authority of the author. Is the author a scholar or an expert in some way, shape, or form? And with Wikipedia, as we kind of run through this, it never is really, you're never really entirely sure who the author is, because this is kind of a group effort when it comes to this sort of thing. And so you can't really tell if this, who is given the information. And I think that's everybody's big hang up about Wikipedia, is not knowing who the author is. the publisher. And this one asks for the authority of who actually published the website. And their questions are, do they accept responsibility for the content, and are they often well known? So it gives you some options here. It's credible, it takes responsibility, it's credible, it does not take responsibility. And at this point, it doesn't really take responsibility for that. It tells everybody, like, if you have a problem with it, you need to write in and contribute too. So I would say, no, not really. The relevance, the source may be credible, doesn't necessarily mean it's relevant to your assignment. That's always a good question too. I wish I had this when I was teaching government. So it asks for the content of the website, if it's relevant and appropriate for the research, but it's relevant but not appropriate. Hopefully you're picking the first one. And then it asks you for how current the information is, and it gives you some different options here. In an effort to speed this along, I'm just going to say that it was published or updated recently, which I believe it was. And then there's a general website review here. After analyzing the site, do you believe it's credible, not credible, you're not sure, or you can provide an explanation. So depending on how you deploy something like this in your classroom, you could have them give options, or you could say, please just explain yourself. Do you think that this is credible or not? It's not always easy to make a decision just between credible or not credible. So you can go ahead and answer that any way you choose. You hit next. And then it gives you some options. You can email your results, you can evaluate another site, or you can print. So if I were looking at printing, then it gives me this little handout right here. And it said, this is what you've said about the article. The purpose to inform or teach, it's accurate, no author, publisher's credible, all this information. And so what you can do with groups is you can have them print this off, or share it. Certainly digitally would be better, more environmentally friendly. But if they can all get together as a group, take a look at all these different websites that they were looking at. This is a quick snapshot, and it is a launch for a conversation about what could or could not be a legitimate resource. Again, not quite as robust as I would like it to be, but it's a really, really good start, and it's a good way for classes that don't necessarily talk about digital literacy all the time, but do need to address it every now and then. It can be a really great tool for that. So I hope you guys find it useful.